I mean, let's just face it. Shannon got screwed. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Mohammed Tantawi. You're listening to Dreamer Podcast. I appreciate you listening. And today we are getting into Shannon Sharpe's departure from FS1, the highly acclaimed, highly viewed show Undisputed with Skip Bayless. I admit, I'm a fan. I love this show. I watched it from the first day, from the very first day when they introduced themselves and they were talking about Tom Brady and the Cavs and LeBron and just it's been amazing watching that show play out the last 7 years. I just can't believe it's split up. I just can't believe it. As a fan, as a viewer, as a sports fan, as a basketball junkie, as a football head when it's fantasy season, it's just heartbreaking, and it just doesn't look the same as seeing, Skip and Shannon, two kind of polar opposite personalities that attack debate way differently. And now you have Shannon and Stephen A, and it's just weird. They have the same type of personality, and Stephen A tries to act like the Godfather a little bit, and he's not the father of debate. And Skip Bayless is labeled as the father of debate, but he wasn't the first one to have, sports show. Probably Mike Wilbon and the other guy, I forgot what he does, the PTI guy. They would probably be the grandfathers of it all, but Skip Bayless introduced long debate format. Let's jump into this. There is a lot coming from post-departure, pre-departure. So let's start pre. When the Damar Hamlin situation came and Skip Bayless put out that tweet that seemed insensitive at the time, but you have to understand, everyone was probably thinking the same thing. Everyone was probably thinking, how are we going to, shake this game into the schedule? What's going to happen? Do we replay it? Do we pause it, call it a draw? What does that do for the playoffs? There was a lot of things going on, and it's not really fair to, Skip Bayless that he was completely, like lacking of any social cues. It's not completely fair to characterize him as, this oppressive, demonizing figure. He just literally doesn't think about sometimes what the public is going to think. And maybe that's why he's so great and why he has over 5 million or something Twitter followers. If you remember, Shannon didn't show up the next day, and Skip Bayless proceeds to do the whole show by himself. No care in the world.
My partner, Shannon Sharpe, is not here today. I look forward to seeing him tomorrow.
Now, Skip Bayless is one to, go to the beat of his own drum. I don't know if you remember, but he's gotten, snapped at a lot of times. And there have been a lot of people that have had a problem with Skip Bayless, i.e. Marcellus Wiley, Jenny Taft.
And I'm allowed to have an opinion, Skip. I am allowed to say whatever I want to say on this show.
Just moments on air that went a little bit uncomfortable. If you're Skip Bayless, rumor has it, and this isn't rumor anymore because it was confirmed by Stephen A. Smith on the Joe Budden podcast.
Go after the co-host so soon. You didn't care.
I didn't look at it that way.
Got it.
I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you, he didn't.
That Skip Bayless or his team or higher-ups pushed Shannon Sharpe off the show. Before he actually left, the reports were he's negotiating a buyout. It seemed like Shannon had had enough. But now that we learn the true details of it, it looks like both parties had enough. It's weird coming at it from a standpoint of maybe Shannon didn't have a choice, because it seemed like Shannon was doing a great job. I can't think of what he could have done better. He was the ultimate He was the ultimate personality. I mean, from the times he would bring his Hennessy, his own branded cognac, when you would bring his Rellos.
How you doing? Got to be great for it. Ooh, these great.
And the I don't know, I forgot the milligram, but when he took like X amount of milligrams of I ain't got time for your bull jive on air.
There's 1,500 milligrams of I ain't got time for your bull jive this morning.
Really? What else it got in it?
Whoa.
I mean, this guy really turned my morning television into an experience, and I swear every day, Monday through Friday for 6 years, I tuned in. Now, seeing him on First Take is a little weird. I don't like it. I don't like this First Take and now the new Undisputed format. You know, I don't like the multiple personalities. I like two figures battling each other, because it's not that one person is right. And if you bring 5 people, it doesn't make it more right. It just makes it more ridiculous. Too many opinions going on there. It's just, sometimes it's good to have just onion soup. You know, don't put a bunch of shit in it. Just leave it as onion soup. Skip Bayless and Stephen A have went back and forth a little bit post-departure. Let's start with this blueberry muffin story that Skip Bayless told in his podcast.
I was at the back of the room prepping as usual. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw him turn to the group and put his hands up and say, "No blueberry muffins?" And I got up and I walked up to him, because he is my brother, and he had fairly recently joined the show. And I defused the situation by saying, "Nobody knew that you wanted a blueberry muffin."
Now, as you can see, Skip Bayless refers to Stephen A, at least implies that he's a little bit of a diva, along with the fact that Stephen A was a newcomer to First Take. So when you see him and the way he carries himself and the way he calls First Take his show, it's a little annoying to me, because this is Skip Bayless's show. No matter if Skip Bayless is there or not. I mean, he was there when it was called First Take. It's not like they rebranded the show. Yeah, they got a new design on set, but I don't know. I mean, it's still Skip Bayless's show. So apparently in the early days, Skip Bayless was highly enthused with Tim Tebow. Now, Tim Tebow brought ratings, and Tim Tebow during that season when they eventually beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs with the touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas, that was probably, the pinnacle of First Take. As a new show, up and coming, that brought the ratings, and it was challenging the flagship show, which would be SportsCenter at the time. There's stories that go back and forth as to why First Take wasn't given an afternoon slot and why it wasn't put on the main ESPN channel.
The bosses at the time didn't care. They had remembered that Skip Bayless lived off of talking about Tim Tebow every day before I arrived. They had accused Skip Bayless, meaning the public, of being a caricature of himself.
Now, this is where you get into the debate between Stephen A and Skip. Now, Stephen A claims that Skip was kind of making a mockery of himself, talking about Tim Tebow a little too much, but at the same time, Skip Bayless wanted to bring up the fact that the Richard Sherman incident actually inhibited them from going afternoon, because they were already on probation from something that Rob Parker had said previously, which immediately got him fired.
My question, which is just a straight, honest question, is he a brother or is he a cornball brother?
Little after that, the Ray Rice situation with Stephen A. Smith.
What I've tried to employ the female members of my family, some of who you all met and talked to and what have you, is that, again, and this is what I've done this all my life, let's make sure we don't do anything to provoke wrong actions.
Now, Stephen A. Smith got suspended for that, and again, it did hinder First Take from going up a level, meaning going to the afternoon slot. Recently, Richard Sherman made a reference to Shannon just talking about Travis Kelce's greatness, and they cut it out of the YouTube clip but left it. They couldn't do anything on the live show, but they cut it out of the YouTube clip.
The best tight end to ever play. And I've heard Shannon say something similar to that. He's the best tight end to ever play. I sit with Tony Gonzalez on the desk on Amazon for Thursday Night Football.
And I found that really petty. I don't know who inspired that decision, who ordered that decision. I'm going to guess Skip Bayless. And I'm going to guess there's a lot of hard feelings in between them right now. The moment in which Skip Bayless had to do that show by himself post Damar Hamlin, and after that, when Shannon had to deal with Skip, call him jealous, and you're not better than Tom Brady, and put your glasses back on.
Wait a minute. This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got 3 Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what did I got to see with you? Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal...
Put your glasses back on.
This moment completely destroyed the chemistry of the show. After this, it really seemed like they were arguing, and it seemed like they weren't friends. In the beginning of the show, it seemed they were a little bit friendly. I don't know if that was because Shannon was new to the game. CBS Sports really isn't a prominent figure, and that's where Shannon was coming from. Shannon was an underdog. Not everyone believed he could do a full segment, debate platform, 2-hour show. It's hard. It's very hard. Even to debate to a camera right now, it's very hard. So you got to be ready. And word has it, Shannon put in the work. And if you look at his podcast, Club Shay Shay, the way he can moderate, the way he can interview, I mean, he could be a legitimate employee for a major media company like CNN, Fox News. I mean, he seriously can do the work of experienced journalists, and it's amazing to see him. The new Undisputed is a little bit weird. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how I feel about old Sherm. I mean, Sherm is well-spoken. Sherm is intellectual. Sherm is very smart. He's an intelligent human being. But the problem is he's always on the video. Like, I need you to be there in person. Keyshawn, I'm not the biggest fan of Keyshawn. I just don't find him entertaining. I feel like he's just, ESPN let him go for a reason. He's not headline material. And I wouldn't want him across the desk from the Skip Bayless. No matter what you think of Skip Bayless, it should have been someone else. Michael Irvin's different. Michael Irvin can, hold his own. And he's not a waste of space. And he actually could run the show by himself. Maybe not to the level of what it is now, but without Skip Bayless there, you could have Michael Irvin and still draw in a significant audience. Now, I think they should move to bring in maybe Max Kellerman as a guest, try to feature Nick Wright. I know Colin Cowherd probably won't make it, but Colin Cowherd, you saw, was fast and quick to jump on Shannon's Club Shay Shay, signing him to a contract almost immediately post his departure. I think bringing in more headline-worthy names. I don't know if Chris Broussard wants to make another appearance. You got to spice up the personalities a little bit. I don't think that people that you have now are just going to be there for the long term. I think an addition like Max Kellerman, Chris Broussard, Colin Cowherd would really elevate the show in prominence, because if you're going to do this format where you're just substituting names for names, you got to bring people that not only know sports but have marquee value. They draw an audience, their box office. I want to see Tim Tebow. I want to see LeBron James if possible, D Wade. I don't know if Skip Bayless has burned too many bridges with athletes. I mean, we see his relationship get rebuilt with Richard Sherman, but let's be honest, Sherm just saw an opportunity to be on a platform that was way bigger than he's ever been on before. No matter Sherm's ability on the field or his credentials, he's not what Skip Bayless is in the media realm. So I don't know if they have the star power to really make this long term, but I'm going to be watching, and I know you're going to be watching too, because Undisputed, if Skip Bayless is talking, I'm listening, along with Stephen A. Smith, even though I do watch more Undisputed than Stephen A. But at the same time, I do like the Stephen A. Smith podcast. I don't like the Skip Bayless podcast. So it's all about, how you format your show. Let me know in the comments if you like Stephen A. Smith teaming up with Shannon. Let me know in the comments if you like the old Undisputed versus the new one. I look forward to hearing from y'all. Give this video a big thumbs up. I appreciate you watching, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will see you next time. Muhammad Tantawi out.